Craig Verhagen, the Barbecue Ninja here. We're at Royal Oak campus, and I got my great friend and new Royal Oak ambassador,
that's right,
Duce Raymond here. And this is Sauce Week, and what we're going to do is look at some of Duce's products and his sauce and the layering of flavors, and he's going to do a chicken here for us. So bring us through this, Duce. Tell us how you're going to do it.
Sure. So what we're going to do is Alabama style smoked chicken, and it's one of the favorite ways that we've developed how to cook the chicken because it has a ton of flavor. It's really moist and delicious, and I like to start with the whole chicken. So we got the whole chicken, and a lot of people talk about spatchcocks, so they might be familiar with this process, but instead of taking the backbone completely out, we're just going to split right through it. So you want to pick your sharpest knife in the deck. If you're not comfortable with the knife, you can use the chicken shears, but I'm more comfortable with the knife myself.
Okay, and now you say Alabama style.
Yep. So,
hit me with that.
So Alabama style, to the best of my knowledge, was started in Decatur, Alabama with Big Bob Gibson's. And I always give a shout out when shout outs are due, and definitely one's due there.
Yeah.
They have done a great job kind of putting this Alabama white barbecue sauce on the map. And basically what it is, it's a mayonnaise vinegar based barbecue sauce. And it's just got a totally unique flavor. It's really awesome to pair on your barbecue buffet because a lot of times you'll have that sweet tomato-based pork or ribs, and when you can do the chicken with something completely different, it just makes the whole menu better, in my opinion. You know, so you're not having that same flavor profile all throughout with all your proteins, something totally different.
There you go. We'll get to cutting up with the chicken.
Okay, so the chicken here, we're going to take right from the butt side, and you're going to take your knife, just get a nice steady handle on it, and if your knife is sharp, it'll go right through that backbone. And biggest thing here is I always tell people, take their time. You're not in any rush, and let the knife do the work. Okay, so once you break through that backbone all the way, then you just use your hands to kind of press it out. And so that's kind of your typical spatchcock. But we're going to take it one step further and then cut right through that breastbone.
So it's a breastbone and a membrane there also that you just go right down the middle.
You can go right through it. And if you got a good handle on a sharp knife, it goes right through. You can see that barely took any work, and you got a nice split chicken now.
Okay, now you've got a couple of your rubs here.
Yeah.
Tell me about, kind of what you're going to do in the layering of flavors and kind of what's in your rubs. And why did you put that in your rub?
So what we like to start with a lot of times is the Boss Blend. And that's something we've used forever in the catering business. It's just got a nice base flavor, salt, pepper, garlic. A lot of people use stuff like that. And the reason being is it allows the natural flavors of the chicken to shine, gives it a little bit of that salty pepperiness and with a little bit of a garlic base. But this is something that's simple, but really adds to that development of flavors.
And that's your base layer.
Yeah, that base layer. You don't need to go too heavy with it.
Now, I did hear you mention in your salt, pepper, garlic, you do have some onion powder in there also?
So there's a little bit of onion powder in here as well. And we use the nice, what is really cool, you can get a close-up. Yeah, you got that nice sea salt in there. It's not the iodized salt. It shows the quality of the rub, in my opinion.
Right. And actually, that salt can give it a little texture too.
Right.
A little crunch there.
So we have a little bit of layer of the Boss Blend. And then this has actually become one of our most popular rubs, is the Poultry Blend. This is something we started with the restaurant years and years ago. It's got a nice salt, sugar, black pepper, paprika. There's a little bit of thyme, dried thyme in there. Okay. And it adds, now when we're talking about layer of flavor, and this gets that complexity. And with the paprika, really starts to bring out the color, gives it that nice color, that nice red color.
I can tell right now looking at it. It's great color.
Yeah, our Our rubs are, I think it's so important to have a blend of salt and sugar. What the sugar does is start to develop some of that bark or that crust on the outside. Yeah. So it's important to know with sugar is you don't want to start it really hot and fast. Exactly. So if you're cooking with a rub with sugar, that's more the low and slow. I tell people that's a good baseline to think. Yeah. If it's got sugar in it, you're going to cook it low and slow. If it's just salt, pepper, garlic, or rub without sugar, then you can start doing some of the grilling with it.
And that's a good a tip for the home cook.
Yes,
is when you're going to grill hot and fast. Yep. Kind of be really light with any kind of sugar, or don't use a sugar rub, because once those sugars burn, they're going to get bitter, and it's really going to not be good as far as the meat.
So we'll start on the backside. This poultry rub.
You go fairly light with it all?
Yes.
Okay.
Pat that in. And this is something I say is you always want to lift that wing up and get underneath there. Otherwise, it leaves a tan line. So now this will go on a smoker, ideally about 275 degrees.
And you kind of do it on the cool side.
Right. We got the Primo set up, and it's got that nice oval shape, so it's enough space to offset it. So you're going to cook it a little low and slow to start, but we're going to finish it to build some of that crust. That's another way to layer on flavor, is actually through the cooking process. Mm-hmm.
And you can see here that color, how that red in there is really showing up with that paprika. Yep. And that's a beautiful color on your rub.
Yeah,
for sure. I love it.
And you can tell that it's nice and fresh and vibrant. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the rubs gets in the sunlight too much. You can see it's started to discoloration. One thing that I tell people is keep their rubs put away in the cabinet. Don't let them be exposed to light. Right. Because that will really kind of take some of the vibrance out of it. It will.
Yeah. I mean, if you get that rub gets in the light, you can see it's going to immediately turn just bland color.
Okay. You want to get these on the grill?
Let's get them on the grill.
So we're running 275. You can see we got the 2-zone fire. I'm going to put these on the cool side. And this will take anywhere, depending on how hot your fire is, about 2 hours. Yeah. These are big chickens too. And then you're going to rotate these every 30 minutes, kind of turn them away from the heat. And then once they're fully cooked, 165 degrees, then we're going to go directly over the heat, build some of that crust, and then layer on the Alabama sauce. That's when the real magic happens.
Awesome.
All right, Craig, it's been about 2 hours.
Ooh.
Look at those babies.
Yeah.
And we hit our temp at 165 degrees. So now what we're going to do is move it over to the hot side of the grill. We're going to char it up a little bit, and then we're going to layer on the sauce.
Right.
And that's when you asked about developing flavor, I think this part is the key step, and some of the lump charcoal will actually add to that flavor.
Now, do you normally just doing skin side? Oh, I can see.
Yeah, we're gonna flip it over.
Okay.
But you'll start to see once it gets a little crispy on the backside, we'll flip it over, and you'll get some of that caramelization. You will get some of those sugars like we talked about. They'll start caramelizing a little bit. As long as you don't go overboard with it, it's still got really good flavor.
Right. I can smell that. Right now, I can smell that rub and that chicken fat grease that is just hitting that. And, oh, it smells great. Wish there was smell-o-vision.
They haven't figured that one out. Maybe AI will do it.
If anybody can figure it out, it's AI, right?
But yeah, that's going to be good. We'll give it a few minutes on there, and then we'll come back to it.
Perfect. Oh, that smells so good.
Those look beautiful, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's what we're starting to see, some of that, getting that nice char color on there. That's really what we're looking for.
That's the flavor.
Yep.
Right there. Oh, yeah.
So we'll get that other side nice, and then we'll start layering on some of that Alabama white gold.
So how does, I guess, the layering of the all-purpose rub into the to the chicken rub into the sauce? How does all that marry up?
Well, I think what it develops is just a really even keeled, balanced flavor profile. So you got some savoriness from the Boss Blend. The poultry rub has a little bit of sweetness, and then some spiciness from the black pepper and a little bit of cayenne. And then the Alabama sauce makes it all come together. It's really smooth with that mayonnaise base, and it's got a little vinegar pop.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we also add a little bit of honey, so there's some subtle sweetness there too. I come from the Sweet Baby Ray's family, so everything's got to have a little bit of sweet.
Well, the honey is the part that for me, I've seen hundreds of different variations of the Alabama white sauce.
Yeah.
And yours having that honey in there definitely makes it original to any of the others that I've come across.
So this is where you got to be a little bit careful. Now, because it is mayonnaise based, it's going to tend to flare up. And a little bit of flare up's okay because it kind of brings some of that flavor as it kisses the flame. So you'll see it go a little bit here. But if you got a little bit less of a hot spot, you want to move it there. This is what I love to see. This right here.
Yeah.
That skin is going to be so nice and crispy and melt in your mouth.
And for the people at home, the flare-ups, I see a lot of them that'll get water and they'll try to spray the fire and all that. Really, for the people at home, the way to handle a flare-up is to close the lid.
Yes, sir.
Because you're actually, depriving the fire of oxygen, which will cause the flames to go down, and it'll take care of that flare up without having to spray water or kill the fire, trying to, get that flare up down. Oh man, that looks good.
Yeah.
And I can smell kind of the vinegar in there.
Yep. And as
the
that little drips down on the flame and then that smoke comes back up, we call those little flavor bombs. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you really get that from that open charcoal. You can't get that from a smoker. You have to go over the direct heat.
Right.
And this grill is perfect because the heat's low enough where that flame's not actually burning the skin or anything like that. It's just giving that little bit of extra love.
And it's getting that flavor from that hardwood lump charcoal.
Absolutely.
Made in the USA.
And this is the process we call tacking up the sauce. So this gives it a chance to kind of marry with the meat and that rub, and everything kind of comes together. We're going to do a couple flips on here to really layer on some of the sauce.
Do you have a certain number of flips, or you just want to see the sauce to a certain consistency?
If you do it, what I do, and I'm the same way with ribs, so we'll do one side on each to tack it up, and then one quick layer just so there's a little bit of fresh sauce out there.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, that's got to be working exactly how you want it to.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh,
come on now.
That's beautiful.
That's exactly. This is pure magic right here.
Yeah.
When that starts to develop right there.
That's the best flavor is that char of those sugars and that vinegar in there and those rubs and
that fat of the protein, whatever, whether it's chicken or pork or something like that. When all that comes together, it's like pure magic.
Man, looking at these, Duce, I mean, it's obvious that the colors from the rub, the flavors, and then the Alabama white sauce tacked on there, that multiple rolling and getting it on there. If I want to have a Alabama white sauce chicken, this is what I want right here.
Well, you're making me blush, but I agree with you. It looks perfect, and it's that patience of barbecue. We took the time, we seasoned it right, we cooked it low and slow so it was cooked through, and then we charred the outside a little bit to get some of that really good grill flavor, and then we layered on the Alabama sauce, and it's going to be delicious.
It looks perfect. Let's see what it tastes like.
Okay.
That'll be the tell.
You can see it.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice and juicy.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I'm going to call this one for me.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to go with the thigh. It might drip down my face, but that's okay.
Well, here's to a perfect Alabama white sauce chicken.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow.
I mean, can't do any better than that. That's fantastic. You want to do this at home, trust me. Get the Duce's Wild products and make it happen.